Welcome to Nursing 5901 Advanced Clinical Practicum. This audiovisual will serve as your introduction to the course. The focus of Nursing 5901 is designed to enhance and optimize your clinical expertise in the profession of nursing. The students will all select a clinical area of nursing in which they want to gain expertise or knowledge, either in an area of less familiarity, or pick an area that they already have expertise in where they really want to optimize their knowledge in that specialty area, so that becomes then the focus as their primary future clinical teaching area of expertise. There are several steps to success within the course, and I want to review these. Please review your syllabi as well as the course itself for these particular links that are mentioned throughout. Number one, we're going to select and approve. You are going to select and approve clinical site for your practicum to take place within. The Department of Nursing for Appalachian State currently has numerous existing clinical sites. You will be contacted in advance to review current sites and indicate your preference. We must have a existing clinical contract for you to be able to practice within a clinical site, and that agreement is between the university and that particular facility. Our Director of Academic Support and Program Compliance serves as a resource and maintains those clinical contracts. And that person will search for a qualified preceptor once determining what your preference is. And your preceptor must be someone who is master's prepared. They may serve as a preceptor in the sense of overseeing you in a clinical site and maybe assign you to other personnel to work on some of your outcomes that you're after, but overall they have to be your point person. You'll be notified with your site and your preceptor at the beginning of the semester. And if you have questions regarding this, please feel free to contact your clinical faculty member as well as the Director of Academic Support and Program Compliance. Step number 2, complete a self-assessment and develop and submit your individual learning contract plan for approval. You're going to select a self-assessment method. This could include the use of some sample tools that will be provided on the course website, or even more pertinent, you may want to seek out a facility, unit, or department-specific competency assessment tool or an orientation assessment tool that facility uses. Many of them are going to have those type of checklists that you go through and do a self-rating on yourself that might be in a Likert scale. And then this will help you and your preceptor kind of sit down and think about what are your strengths in terms of your clinical expertise and knowledge, and then what opportunities do you have for enhancing your knowledge or skills. So you will show how you have done a self-assessment with your preceptor, and then sit down and look at that in terms of what areas are your areas that you would like to make improvements in. Please review the Planning Resources folder that is in your course for items in developing your learning contract plan. In addition, there will be another audiovisual component that you will review that very clearly outlines how to write your learning contract and how to use the specific learning outcome verbs that are needed to make this a proper plan. And so this item will work two ways. It helps you kind of self-define some of your learning goals for your clinical course, but it also helps familiarize you with how to write learning goals and outcomes for students in the future. Please remember that the Learning Outcomes contract does account for 50% of your grade. Step 3 to success includes actively engaging in learning in the clinical setting. You will be required to complete 90 clinical practicum hours under the direction of your preceptor. Your practicum hours should be focused on meeting the goals that you identify or the outcomes that you identify within your contract. So be cognizant of that and try to stay on track with what you're really there to do and not get caught up in some interesting things that might be fun to do but may take you away from your original outcome goals. You must meet the full 90 hours to receive credit for the course. So you will be keeping track of those. And this will be done using step number 4, document your learning and successes. You will be maintaining an ongoing clinical practicum reflection log. This log will be uploaded twice during the semester for evaluation and grading, once at midterm and also the last week of clinical. During each week, you want to try to think about a relevant scholarly article that pertains to that clinical setting and or your learning goals that you've identified, and just link that in as kind of a specific document to review that kind of shows. You might even mention something that you learned when you have listed the things on your log, and you can always put a hyperlink there that just shows the faculty what you looked up about that. You will have a very set template that is provided in your course that allows you to go through, list the in time, the out time, the date, calculates how many hours for you throughout the semester in an Excel spreadsheet that's already set to do this. But while you're going to document the hours, you want to make sure that you really list a lot of relevant learning that deals with your outcomes, that shows that you have gained some insight about the weaker areas that you identified for your plan. And do remember that reflective journaling counts for 10% of your grade. Number 5 is one of the larger graded components of the course, and this deals with a clinical standards of care group project. This will be 30 clinical hours, and this is approximated so that you can kind of tell how much time you spend on it. You do not need to add that to your clinical log. It is really just estimated 30 hours, but it cannot be something that is counted as part of your 90 hours in clinical. So just to know that this is separate time from the time you're in clinical. You will identify a partner with similar clinical interests that is in the course. At the beginning of the course, we will have an introduction discussion forum where you can do this and kind of discuss back and forth amongst yourself, but you will need to have at least one other partner. In some cases, groups, if there's an uneven number in the course, we can talk about that further. But generally speaking, you should have at least 2 people in a group, unless you just really have a very unique clinical interest area and would like to do yours individually. Together, you and your partner will research current clinical standards pertinent to the specialty area that you've identified that you have some similar interests together in. You will select a priority clinical standard that is applicable, and you'll gather current evidence-based literature on that. And you'll do that as a team, so you'll figure out who's going to do what components of doing literature reviews. And then once you've kind of compiled the literature, you will post a summary of the literature with some either putting some PDFs in a discussion board, or you could just do resource hyperlinks. But there will be 6 discussion boards for our group, and for that, half of the class will do the beginning portion of the class before midterm and do 3 ongoing discussion boards at the same time. And then after midterm, we will have 3 more discussion boards that will go on. So please pay attention to the timing for those, and you will need to indicate to the faculty or they will make that decision on which 3 groups are going to go first and which 3 groups are going to go last. In addition to posting, you will prepare a synthesis report of the evidence-based literature and post that for the other students. And you will be provided a template of some synthesis reports so that you have an idea of some structures that might work real well for that, so that the other students can kind of see a quick snapshot of what the literature really said versus reading 100 articles. You also lead a discussion board for the assigned week on your group's clinical standard. When you're not the leaders of the group, you will be participating in all the other discussion boards. So you might be the leader on discussion board 1, but at the same time you're going to need to be discussing in the groups for 2 and 3, and then when 4, 5, and 6 come on later on in the semester, you're going to have to participate in all of those as well. The Clinical Standards Group project accounts for 40% of your course grade, and there's the listing of how the components are counted. So make yourself aware of those percentages and how it rolls up to the 40%. For step 6, you're going to evaluate your success and evaluate the course. You're going to evaluate the progress in meeting your learning outcomes on your individual learning contract. You're going to collaborate with your preceptor for further evaluation of these outcomes. And you're going to upload your completed contract for the faculty review and for them to provide you with some input. And last of all, before the course is up, you're going to complete your course evaluation at the end of the course. And this is an optional item, but we like to remind you of that now. Hopefully this has given you a good overview of the course expectations and all the different items that you will be participating in through this course. If you have questions, please feel free to contact your faculty member. The faculty will provide you a syllabus that is located within the course as a book chapter with chapters on different topics, as well as a schedule that outlines all of these assignments and when they will be expected to be done and turned in, and in what method those that are expected to be received. Again, we hope that you have a great semester and look forward to working with you.